Magazine. It's kind of afternoon, I guess. How's everybody doing today? It is a bit of a snowy day today. Can you hear me okay? Definitely feeling some Christmas vibes. And this is not a Christmassy card, definitely use the techniques that we're going to do and do a Christmassy card. I think this is a good all around, birthday. You could use it for sympathy, um, thinking of you or friend cards. And sometimes we're so busy making Christmas cards this time of year. Hi, Christy. Can you guys hear me okay? Sometimes we're so busy making Christmas cards that our stash might get a little bit low when we are working on birthday cards. Hi, Melanie. It looks like I'm all connected. Audio is fading in and out. Sometimes my headphones do this. I'm going to change my headphone. Seems like for some reason, on the Creative Scrapbooker Facebook page that happens. Now, is that better? If that's better, just let me know. I'm in my bonus room where my craft room is, and I have just a great view of the snow, and it's feeling so Christmassy. Have you guys started on your Christmas cards? That's better? Perfect. Okay, I can never remember which headphone is actually better until I start. So, hopefully my puppy is cooperating. She's supposed to be sleeping, but of course, she's not. No snow where you are, Melanie. Well, that's okay. It is late November, and I feel like Calgary, we've done really well. This is our, I think, second snowfall, so um, it's really good. We are going to be playing with Altenew today and making a beautiful card. Now, I think that if you wanted to turn this into a Christmas card, you could make this almost like a poinsettia and do red flowers and, maybe put some pine in the background. This embossing folder, I think, is very versatile. Good morning from Washington, Celine, and welcome to everybody. Hi, Elise and Dawn and Melita and Christy and Creative Scrapbooker Magazine. Had two snowfalls and nothing is sticking. Well, that's good. It's kind of nice to have that little bit of snow feel, but then, it not really stick around. All right, so we are going to create this card, and I think there's lots of fun techniques you can pull from this and use with lots of other dies. It is winter in Elk Point. It's come to the pass. Hey, Jackie. Hello, Lena. So we are going to be using this. I don't even know really how to say this, and I've never heard of this flower before, but I'm not a huge gardener, so that's not a surprise. So Coreopsis. I'm going to call it that. It might be called something different. Hello, Jacqueline. And this is a beautiful die set. So Altenew has beautiful stamps and dies and stencils. They've got lots of layering stencils and lots of really beautiful sentiments on their stamp sets. definitely check them out. They also have watercolors, and we're going to check out these watercolor markers, which are really fun to use. So I'm going to show you what we're using. I die cut this flower die and the greenery, and I used Strathmore Bristol Vellum cardstock. And I find that works really nice if you're using a water-based marker. And I'm going to throw my dog some treats here. Treats. And it really seems to let the marker and the water-based medium move around when you put it on the surface. Melita says, I'm 85 Christmas cards deep now. Only about 50 more to go. Wow, you are really hardcore. Yeah, lots of eye candy. Can't pronounce it either. I'm glad. Okay. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Stacy. Alrighty. So these are really fun. They're water-based markers. These are the Zanzibar markers. They're Zanzibar markers. So they're a water-based marker, and they come in really nice colors. And we're going to have a look at these and how lovely you can use them. Of course, you can just color in your stamped images, but I like the idea of just die cutting on white, and then you could just bring them with you if you're going somewhere. It's a nice activity to kind of do on the go. We're going to use some scrapbook adhesives by 3L. So we've got some tape runner and some foam. We've got some Elizabeth Craft Designs tweezers and some distress spritz. I'm really liking the spritz the more and more I use it. It is just a splash of color, so you can see it in the background. And hello. Oh, Elise says, that's fantastic. You're two in. Yeah, you and me both, Elise. So you can see that it just mists the background really lightly, and you have this really nice spritz of color. And then, set that over there for a minute. We've got some Olfa cutting scissors, or little stitching scissors, that I like to use for trimming and fussy cutting. This Altenew Obsidian Pigment ink, I would say, is my absolute favorite black ink. So it stamps so nicely, and I just stamped the sentiment on here, and I'll give you a look after at how nicely it stamps. I don't often like to stamp without my stamp positioning tool, and Altenew has that stamp wheel, which is wonderful, and I use it all the time for stenciling and stamping. But I find if you're stamping a really small sentiment, sometimes it's just easier with the stamp block. And I always get a really good impression with this ink. Like the first time, I usually don't have to stamp it double. As well, this is water safe, so it is not going to run if you're using watercolors over it. So we have the Zanzibar markers and a water brush. This is that embossing folder. It's a 3D folder. It's the Alocasia. Again, I've never heard of this plant. I don't know. I guess it's a real plant, I'm assuming. But it's gorgeous. Look at those leaves, and really nice background. And you get a lot of dimension. And we're going to use the Creative Scrapbooker Superstock, which is a nice heavyweight white cardstock. And it really does a great job with embossing. And then we've got some crystal clear enamel dots, which are almost like just a droplet of clear fun on the background. So what we'll do to start off is grab our cardstock, and this is our card base here. Got a couple things already cut out, and this is our panel. So because the Creative Scrapbooker Superstock comes in a sheet of 12 by 12, if I'm making cards with it, I like to cut them at 4 so that I get 3 card bases, or in this instance, I was doing my sample and then the one that we'll do live. So I cut it into 3 4 by 6 inch panels, and then cut those down to 5.5. So it's a little bit smaller than an A2, but that allows us to have our leaves hanging off the side. And then I cut my panel at a quarter of an inch shorter each way and smaller on the edges. So I have a little bit of edge showing. Even though it is white, it still gives it a little bit of dimension. So we're going to put this into this 6x6 folder. I really like this folder, and it works great for whether you're making 6x6 panels or if you are making an A2 size card. And then we are going to emboss. For a minute there, I forgot where I put my embossing plate. So this is the universal system with spellbinders, and I've got the base plate and I've got this embossing plate, and I usually just add a little shim of paper. So I'm just going to run that through my Platinum 6 machine, and then you're going to see that dimension. So it's just going to go right through. It's probably wiggling the camera a little bit. And I love the dimension that it gives. All right. So here's our folder. This looks exceptional on foil cardstock as well. Hello, Mary, and welcome to everybody who's popped in. And have a look at that dimension. Like, it's just incredible. That's the back side, which is amazing as well. And then here's our front side. So what we're going to do is just take our shoebox, which is what I use for misting. And with the distress spritz, I usually store them laying down. You do want to definitely give it a shake so that there's no leftover mica powder in the bottom. That isn't it stunning? And it's, I mean, you could use that for anything. I love that I'm using it with these flowers, but you could use it for anything. And I'm just shaking this back and forth until we get that all mixed up. I find that's the best way to make sure that you don't get any clogs. I mean, sometimes it does happen, but I've had pretty good luck, knock on wood. So you can see how that's pretty much mixed up there. Hello, Dawn. Yes, Altenew products are beautiful. So we're just going to spray lightly. And look how lovely. It's not like a whole shot of color. You just get the mist of the colored mica. And then I would come in, let me grab a paper towel here. Would come in with a cloth or paper towel. And then I always give the little nozzle just a wipe. So that way there's nothing stuck and dried on there. And then we'll put that aside. Okay, so here is that shimmer, and as it dries, you're going to get even more shimmer. So another thing that I've really been liking lately is I just got this Ranger Heat It tool, and I have a Wagner heat gun, which I love for embossing. It's really super hot and really focused, but this is just really nice when you need to dry some paint or some background and you don't want to have maybe it bubbling or warping your paper as much. I find this is just a softer heat source and it's more dispersed than a heat gun. So I'm really liking this. It does get hot enough, I guess, to emboss because it says it can emboss, but I think I would still use my embossing gun probably for embossing. I'm just really liking this for drying things. And then it has a little circle here that you can hook it on. I've got a hook beside my desk and I just hook it on there. And look at that beautiful spritz. So pretty, but yet it's still, you know, a spritz of color. It's not taking over your background. So we are going to, let's see, I think this is even dry enough that we could glue that down. That dried really quickly. So we've got the Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L tape runner. And yeah, I was playing, I think my thing was empty. I was wondering whether that was going to run out. Okay, we'll get the big one out. This one is the Easy Runner Grand, which has the same white permanent. It's got the little glue pieces in it, which is nice if you have to get into small areas, but it's a really sturdy, heavy duty glue runner. So, or tape runner. You don't have to worry about anything falling off. All right, we're going to glue this down, pretty much centering it. Yeah, the spritzes are amazing. The third set just came out. And sometimes, you know, if I don't want to wipe my hand over the front, especially if I have something on there that I'm worried about maybe moving or have some dimension, I just turn my card over and press it from the back. But that is actually dry. That dried really quickly. So this is the Altenew mat. I have to show you this before we get everything on top of it. And I think I had a little paper that came with it. So it's the A3 foldable cutting and alignment mat, which is great for taking anywhere. It's nice and sturdy, but it also folds. Look at this. It folds. This, I think, would be nice if you were taking some projects and you just wanted a little bit of a hard surface, but it also opens up and just lay it on your craft surface. It has a little bit of give, so I think too, if you were stamping, that works really nicely. And then it has these alignment guides for A2 size cards. So I can just put this in here, and that's going to be great for when we're adding the details to our card to know how much over, because I said I cut this at 4 instead of 4 1/4, how much over we can go and it still fits in that envelope. So I think this cutting mat is great. And then of course you can cut on it if you need to cut anything. Okay, so we've got our card here, and now I want to show you the watercoloring. So I've die cut this flower. I die cut all the elements, but we'll just color some of them. I have the other ones pre-colored. It comes like this. You've got all the elements to the dies, and it's really easy to put together. They have this keyhole system where you just line it up, and really, really handy. Yeah, it is nice that it folds. You could just, I have a little craft bag that I take with me, and this just fits right in it. So when I die cut this out of the Strathmore Bristol Smooth or Bristol Vellum cardstock, because that's what I'm using for watercoloring, I just leave the pieces in the background, and I find that makes it super easy to color. And you'll see what I mean. So let's see here. I've got a couple pieces that I already did. Let's put those out. And then for our flower, it's got 3 layers, and it's actually numbered 1, 2, and 3. And I found it pretty quick and easy. If I wanted these to be pink primarily with a little bit of red. And I like working on one section at a time. And let's see here, we've got our water brush. When you're using a water brush, you don't want to squeeze it while you're watercoloring. The water goes into the brush automatically. If you find that your brush is really dry, then just squeeze it off to the side. I always have like a paper towel, and that way the water can come down without making a big drop on your plate or on your coloring. So then I'm going to start, actually before I do this, I got talking. I want to add the pink. I'm not going to go into the water. So I'm coloring right over the red. The marker is actually blending that in. And then if I have a little bit of red on my marker, just wiping it a couple times, it's going to come off. So it's fine. It's not going to hurt your marker. And then I can come in with my water brush and I'm just starting to blend the color. So if I want it to be lighter, let's zoom in a little bit there. At the ends, I can always just wipe off my water brush and then pull that color out. So you can kind of see how it's blending. I have my iPad on as well, and my iPad has such a delay, so hopefully it doesn't have a super long delay where you're watching. This way, the color can go out of the lines and you don't have to kind of hold that there. If I had to hold it, I have a smaller piece. If I had a smaller piece I was doing, I would just probably hold it down with some tweezers, but this makes it really easy. And you can see how quick that colored. As well, you get that nice variation in color, and it's so easy. So it's a little bit darker where you put the color on, then you're just blending out, and you've got these brushes, which is really nice. So it's a brush on one end, and then a really fine line on the other, fine line marker, and I'll show you how nicely that writes. That would be lovely for addressing your Christmas cards, you know, writing your grocery list. If you have a planner that you write in, because it always makes things more fun if you can write in a colored pen. So again, I'm just blending out this darker part, then I'm going to wipe it off and come back and pull some of that color out. So what's everybody up to today? As I said, it's a snowy day here. I had some running around to do, and we live near a hill. So my youngest daughter walks to school, and it just gets so crazy by the school, and the buses always get stuck. And my older daughter, who's in high school, she has to take a city bus, which is kind of like on a school run, but it's a city bus to school. And the city buses said they weren't even running in the neighborhood, so, which is ridiculous. But they always get stuck at the bottom of the hill. So I guess, I don't know. First, this is only the second snow of the winter. So I just drove her to school and had a coffee with a friend, and then came back to get stuff ready. This, I find, is just so relaxing too. Like, you don't really have to think about it. You've got that darker area in where you first put the color on. Then we're going to do this little piece here, which is numbered number 4. Thank you. Thanks, Judy. Thanks, Melita. Hello, Kelly. How are you doing? Hi, Jessica. All right. I'm going to add some yellow. And you don't always have to put 2 colors. You can if you want. I do like too that this little holder comes right out of the package, and then you can put your markers in there. So then for this, I'm just quickly blending it out. You don't see a ton of this little piece, it's kind of just around the edge. And then for the leaves, they have this nice spring green, but I also wanted to add a little bit of color in there, a little bit of darker color. So I decided to come in with this turquoise blue. Hi, Reval. Oh, thanks. And I'm just, well, I could do dark and then light again, but I decided this time I'm just going to add a little bit of this blue around the edges. I don't want a whole lot, but it's going to give us more of, I don't know what type of green, adds just a little bit of color. And if I want a little bit more water in my brush, just to move it around, I'm going to squeeze it to the side. You can see that more of that color is really moving around, and I'm just blending it in till I feel like that's enough blending. And then I always just wipe my brush off, and I also have a habit, if I'm changing colors, I just give it a quick wipe. I don't need to squeeze it to change colors. I really just need to give it a wipe so that that color wipes off. Hey, Janet, this is fun. Hello, Lucienne and Deb. All right, so let's set that to the side. We are again going to use our Ranger Heat It tool just to give it a little bit of a dry. This dries pretty quick, but the Bristol Vellum is really nice for mixed media, and it does hold the water. So you could still glue it together, but if you want it to just make sure it's dry, you can just give it a little bit of a shot with your heat tool. And two, I feel like, I mean, I wouldn't want to emboss on this craft mat, but that having the, let's zoom out again, having that heat tool, I can still use it near, and I don't have to worry that it's going to damage that. Hi, Joy. Don't come to the UK. We don't get told the buses are canceled. You just stand and hope. Well, sometimes that happens too, Kelly. Yeah. So we're just going to punch these out, and it's cool when you punch them out and you see it's almost like a reveal, right? Like, look how pretty that looks. Okay, so we're punching those out, and then I'll show you that keyhole system, which, I mean, it's really foolproof, and you don't have to figure out how things go together. So that's going to come out. And then to punch out these little keyholes, I just use my tweezers and then just pull it out. And we can just line them up. So this is number 3. This is number 2. So 3 is at the top and 1 is at the bottom. There we go. And then you can see, like, with the little keyhole, it's larger at the top and then smaller at the bottom, like a keyhole. And we're just going to start layering. So I'm just going to use a little bit of my Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L tape runner, and you can see how it lays down individual little strips, which is great because if you wanted to move one of those, you could just pick it up with your tweezers. So that is one. I can still see through it to lay down the next one and line those up. We're just going to press that. And here we can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. And if I, wasn't sure what I was doing, I could always look at this, and this gives you a really comprehensive guide to each section. But after you make one, I mean, you're just lining them up. It's super easy. All right. And our next layer is number 4. So number 4 is this little centerpiece. And again, not being a gardener, I do not know what that's called. It probably has a very informative name. But I do like crafting with flowers, so I figure, I don't have to be good at everything, right? Then we're going to put on this little layering piece. I also like how they did this. So they created this little piece, which is going to be covered, so it doesn't actually need to be colored. And we're just going to turn it around like this. This goes in the center. And because you've got these elements layered and the Bristol vellum cardstock is a little bit thicker, you really get quite a lot of dimension, even though we're just gluing it down directly. And then all I did was layer. There's another piece that I already colored orange. So it's the same shape as this. And then there's a little piece on the top that I cut out of gold, and I layered those. And then all we're doing is lining that up with that piece so we know where it goes. I don't think there's any wrong way to put that on anyways, but then we've got all that pretty dimension. Isn't that nice? Hi, Dolly. All right, so now we can go ahead and grab our background, our card. So I colored the other leaves that we're going to use. You get this really pretty little closed flower. You get several leaves. I think you could mix and match these. And again, like I think if you wanted to make a poinsettia, that would be beautiful too. So I can just put this card right into this A2 layer or guide. And now I can put my flowers on, figure out where I want them to go. And I can have the leaves sticking out a little bit. Let's see what I did with the other ones. I'll try and replicate this. So I think this one was kind of in here. And I did, let's see here. The other one's already stuck some glue on, but I'm just adding a little bit of this glue, and you can see if too many come off, just pull it off with your tweezers or fold it over. Okay, so I am going to pop up the flowers, but in the meantime, I can put them on. This is the guide where the A2 size is, so I know it's not going to be too big, but you still get that look of it hanging over the edge. Here we can, let's zoom out a little bit again. Hello, Joy, and welcome to everybody who's popped in. All right, and then this one is going to be, yes, I put some glue on this already. And the tape runner, I find that you do have a little bit of time. Like if you put it on and you felt like you needed to move it, you do have some time to pull it up. But if you press it down firmly and leave it, it sticks really well. So it's not going to come off, but you still have that time to move things around. Now this one was a little bit longer, and I only die cut the top piece of it. And I think because this has this stem, you could totally put it and have your flower, like if you wanted the flower like that, which would be very pretty. But I don't want this little stem. I want it to look like it's more of some greenery sticking out. So that's going to be like this. And I like too that some of the edges kind of pull up a little bit and that not everything is completely stuck down. And then we've got this pretty one. I love this one. Hi, Sharon. So this one here, I'm going to put a foam dot on the top. I want to put a little bit of glue. I'm just going to, or a little bit of tape. I'm just going to do this because it's actually going to be under our flowers, and that's fine. So we can put it like this, and let's grab our dots. So these are the circles from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. So you get a couple different sizes, which is nice. And then I should have done this before I put this down, but here I'm going to pull it up first. The backing is always really easy to come off, and then it sticks really well, which is nice. So there, we can stick that down. Then we're going to use the larger circles. Thanks, Jackie. Oh, thanks, Ravel. Thanks, Cheryl Ann. It is nice and bright and I think is nice, like I said, for birthday. I mean, you could change the colors up and make it for anything. All right, so we'll put this one here. And I like too that we've got it popped up, but these little areas, these flower petals, they just have a lot of movement, and they're kind of not everything is completely stuck down, which I like. All right, and the gold shimmer from the Distress Spritz is just looking really nice. And then I stamped "You Are Beautiful," and I'm going to give you, I die cut out this little piece and I decided to pre-stamp it because whatever can happen live will happen live. And I thought I'm just going to give you a demo of how this stamps instead of trying to get my head in there and center it. But so this is the Altenew Obsidian Pigment ink, and it stamps so nicely. Like, look how crisp that stamps the first time. Plus, it's waterproof, and so anything that I watercolor and have to stamp, I usually stamp with this. I find that it's just a really nice stamping ink. All right, so we've got our "You Are Beautiful," and I wanted to pop that up as well. So I have these foam strips that for some reason I had cut for some project. I don't know what I was doing, but normally it's in like a full-size package. These strips are amazing to have on hand and great for any kind of little areas. Hello, Monica. Thanks, Aline. And then another thing that I like to do is have my tweezers, and if I have a small thing, rather than trying to fit it on, I find that I get a better perspective if I use tweezers, and I can just, it's like an extra hand. I can just see a little bit better. So then I'm just going to put that on. All right. And then the last thing we're going to do, because we've got some gold splatters on there, and I felt like we didn't really need anything huge for, sequins or gems, but the clear enamel dots just give it a little bit. And again, if we wanted to just have kind of an extra hand, this is an Olfa knife, craft knife, and I find if I'm just grabbing the edge of it with the craft knife, again, it just kind of helps me position things, but it's not sticking on there so much that I can't get it off. And these to me just look like some droplets of water. You get a lot of enamel dots in this package, and they have beautiful colors. Like, they have tons of different colors, and definitely worth checking out, and they stick really nicely as well. So here is our card, and one last thing that I want to show you is the repositionable easy dots from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. These are great. I especially love them to put inside my card. So you can see I just put it inside my card, but if I want to take it off or when I'm done using it, it just wipes away. But what I use it for is if I'm trying to keep my card closed, to either put things on the top or take a photo, it's really great to just keep it closed. And we have, Creative Scrapbooker has the VIP group, and someone had asked in that. It's a great group, and you can check it out. It's a subscription group, and everybody's so amazing. But someone had asked about taking pictures, and a lot of times if you're making cards and you want to share them online, I make sure that my card is closed, and especially it's a thicker cardstock like Creative Scrapbooker Super Stock, I use this to keep it closed, and then I can take a photo from the top and it looks like it's rectangular in the photo rather than, how sometimes your picture will look like it's a little bit off center, and I find it's just an easier way for me to get a picture. So I love using that. And then when you're done with it, you just pop it open, rub it off, and then you can add your sentiment inside. And the other thing was, this sentiment is actually from this set, the Mixed Blooms Outline Stamp Set, which is amazing. And look how many sentiments are in this set. So this one, you are beautiful, but like so many different sentiments. So this is gorgeous as well. And it does come with dies and stencils as well. So lots of fun. Oh, and an embossing folder it comes with as well. So definitely check out Altenew. They have so many amazing products. Get out your markers and try some coloring of your die cuts. That's always fun and an easy way to customize things. And yeah, so that's all I have for you today. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and if it's snowy where you are, put your Christmas music on and do a little bit of crafting. What's the green adhesive roller? It is Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, Easy Dots Repositionable. So that's the one it is. It's the repositionable one. And I think I have to get another one because it's starting to get low and I do not want to run out of that. Hello, Kit. Thanks, Melita. Thanks, everybody, for spending your time and watching. Thanks, Melanie. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks, Jackie, for writing that down. Thank you, Christy. All right, guys, have fun. And don't forget to share what you're making, cards or scrapbook layouts in our groups that we have linked on our Facebook page. And have an awesome time. Thank you. Bye.